Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Milestone Book Club on 22 panels. Joining me tonight are the brothers Anderson, no relation, and we're going to talk some static, including the infamous Static number 25 with the cover that DC wasn't willing to show.
Too hot for DC. And honestly,
That's
like it's
You know what? Or go,
as
you
with
go.
like
Yeah.
just I was gonna say like as with the abortion issue of Icon, not the abortion. I mean that sounds like it sounds like I'm boiling it down to it is like just this one big thing where all they do is talk about it. It's part of a longer series, as part of a bigger conversation. It's handled well. Like
right.
it was both less like controversial than I was expecting, and I was also like,
Yep.
"Oh, that's okay, all right, sure, yeah." And then I was like, "Oh, they wouldn't publish this cover because there was a single condom on it," and I was like searching for the condoms. I'm like, "What? Where?
Right.
Oh,
You
okay,
know
there.
what?
Yeah,
Right.
I guess."
Can I? All right. Can I jump
Yep.
in? Because all right. So I I remember very specifically throughout my childhood. You know, I read more Marvel, but I definitely read some DC. And DC would they seemed to, despite the fact that they were both under the comics code, DC would take it a little farther. DC would like put the word damn in there, which when you're like, 9 or 10 years old, you're like, wow, this is this is hardcore comics, But beyond that, they would do a lot of other stuff. A matter of fact, it was the infamous, fridging. The whole origin of that
Oh
idea
God, yeah.
comes from a DC comic, So it's like there's so many ways, like violence and honestly, even like some gendered crimes that where DC would take it further. But then it's like all of a sudden, Virgil Hawkins, like you know what I mean, like on the cover of this one issue, uh, it's it's this thing. Well, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. It's
We'll
just
get
that
to it.
hearing Tad say it was too hot for DC clicked in
No,
my
that was
head. You know what I
Ted.
mean?
That was
Or whoever
Ted.
said
That
it.
was not
Yeah, whoever
me.
said it.
Ted,
Listen, I'm not blaming. I'm not blaming. I actually think whoever said it, it's just, and I already thought there was a lot of nonsense afoot with it when it comes to the double standards. But just hearing it put that way just really, really brings to
I
light the
mean, I
double
gotta
standard.
tell you, it reminds me of the when EC ran the astronaut reran the
Oh
astronaut
yeah.
story, and they didn't want him to be black for it to be the code, and Gaines stormed into the office and said, "You're a racist." They said, "Fine, you can leave him black, but he can't have sweat on his brow."
God, the sweat thing. Yeah, Jesus. But yeah, no, there's always comics got to push the boundaries every now and then,
It
even in
would have
little
been a
ways.
very special afternoon edition of Spider-Man if Spider-Man had a condom on his couch.
God, yeah, I can imagine. As opposed to
Well,
just Mary Jane
I grew up
posing.
reading Spider-Man comics. All kinds of things happen in Spider-Man comics. So, like, you know
Exactly.
what I
That's
mean?
my
Famously,
point. That's
famously,
Pretty
there
my
much
was one.
everything
point.
happened is
There was one
Right.
issue in like
yeah.
the 70s, I want to say, where like the cover is like some hippie on the edge of a building, like, "Oh man, I'm flying," and like, the
Hmm.
story is like, "Oh man, this hippie took so much drugs that now he's flying, and Spider-Man has to save him." And like that one issue, which of course had like the most anti-drug message, they couldn't get Comics Code approval for, so they just published it without the Comics Code seal, like that one
Well,
issue,
Right.
and nobody noticed because like already nobody cared about this Comics Code. But anyway, yeah.
Right.
That was yeah, it's late 60s at the earliest, but I think it was 70s. But anyway.
Yeah.
no, the way I understand it, that was actually done because he heard that DC was going to say screw the comic code for hard traveling heroes,
Okay.
and he didn't want DC to do it first.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. All right,
Because
fair.
Stan, if somebody's gonna do it, it's got to be me.
Hey man, somebody got to do it first, yeah. But yeah, anyway, so we are getting up onto 5 issues of Static, 21 through 25. Which are not actually all together in the book, but like it kind of made the most
No, they're
sense to hit
separated a little
25 here
bit.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Um, but yeah, and it's an odd little chunk of issues. I don't know. I mean, especially after like God, it has been a while since I recorded. I had to kind of go back to like what happened in the last few, and it was the big Hot Street confrontation. It was Ricky shooting him, or t- wait, yeah, Ricky, right? No, who shot Hot
Ricky.
Street?
Yeah. Ricky.
Yeah,
Ricky.
okay.
Yeah.
And was he calling himself Holocaust. No, the Holocaust. The other guy. Sorry. God, I'm really off my
Hot
milestone game.
streak, hot streak. Yeah,
Hot streak. Yeah. So
yeah.
like kind of a big emotional issue. It's also Ricky had just recently come out as gay, or that it had been revealed for him or everything. So like this is a weird little structure of issues because first off we get 21, which is almost a joke issue, and and then 21, 22 through 24 is both nothing and also like kind of monumental. Like it's weird. We'll get into it. And then 25
Hmm.
is it's sort of its own separate thing, although it very much connects to what's been happening. But yeah, this is an odd little chunk of issues, and not necessarily in a bad way, but in a way where I'm like, oh, okay, I just was just kind of doing everything right now. Um,
Yeah,
yeah. Did anyone else? I mean, did anyone else have any thoughts on this particular block of issues?
yeah. I
Just
think Look.
Yeah,
Oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. You go. You go.
No, no,
Wait, am
no,
I
because
off time? I feel like I'm off time.
oh, like delayed? No,
You
I think
you
you're.
yeah. You go, Ted, and then I'm gonna
no, because I
close
don't
some
have full
tabs.
thoughts. I was about to think out loud. So if you have thoughts, you should go.
Okay, all right, I'll go. Apologies to the audience if I got a delay. So anyway, so for me, like I mean, I'm honestly I'm always into old static issues, even when they get a little weird. Um, it kind of reminds me, and we talked about this with Milestone Returns. I do like new static quite a bit, but it's a real adjustment. It's almost like, well, whatever. That's a whole other topic. But like my point is like this type of weird static issue, and like the first two really, they kind of start out with this storyline with these killer chihuahuas.
Killer Chihuahuas, yeah.
And yeah, I feel like 22 we can kind of move through pretty quickly. But but there is other cool stuff happening. There's character stuff happening with Virgil's friends, which they always do. There's always the like teen drama part of it. Um
Yeah. And also his family. Like
yeah,
that's the really big part. Like the friend stuff, yeah, but like the
yeah.
family stuff is
Family and
where
friends. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
No,
you said
usually
okay, yeah.
usually no, I didn't. You added family and you're right. Um So yeah, like that stuff is really cool. It's interesting because I think this is the first time we've seen Virgil's dad at work. Uh,
Think so.
Virgil's dad who's like uh, kind of a McDuffie stand-in. Um, but
Yeah.
we see him at his job, and he happens to work with a boogeyman from Blood Syndicate's mom, who we met
Yes.
like briefly when Boogeyman was introduced. So that's pretty cool because you see him because
Yeah.
we usually see him only in the context of like being a loving father and the head of the house. But then like we see him at work and we see him being supportive in the same way to his coworker, and he doesn't realize that she's distressed because her son is a 6 foot rat. But
hmm Although he can change back, but yeah, because
yeah,
that
yeah, he
also
could change
just
back.
happened. I had to I had to rewind to be like, okay, did they do the thing where they kicked Boogeyman out for 5 minutes and then brought him back in? And like, yeah, that was. I don't know if that was the last issue of Shadow Cabinet, but it was recent. Was like the revelation that Boogeyman's a white guy was like
Yeah,
recent.
they didn't
Yeah.
drop him though. I don't think. I
No,
think
they
they just like
for like
did they
5 minutes.
or
It was. I mean, it was
oh
in the same issue. Like Wise Son kicks him out, and then I think maybe Third Rail or Brickhouse says something like, "Hey, you shouldn't do that." And he's like, "Yeah, okay." And he goes back and says, "Like, okay, you know how you felt? That's how like that's a small taste of a little bit of how racism feels. You know that kind of stuff." It was.
I got
It
you.
was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it was
Right
like
now I
two. It
remember
was
this
like
stuff.
2 pages,
Yeah,
but yeah, no.
yeah.
Boogeyman's. I think Boogeyman's revealed to be a white guy in like the most recent or a couple issues ago, a Shadow Cat or
Okay,
Blood
yeah.
Syndicate. Yeah. But yeah, so this issue is a weird little not weird, not in a bad way, but just sort of it's kind of checking in on a lot of things because we also see the other girl superhero who keeps showing up occasionally, Dusk, I guess,
Hmm.
who showed up like 2 issues previously, just kind of popping in at
Very,
the
very,
beginning.
very 90s vigilante character.
Oh, absolutely 90s vigilante because she also doesn't seem to have powers. She's just like a girl in like gymnastics outfit with like
Yeah.
some
Well, I mean, it's the
technology.
90s.
Yeah.
She flips off of the roof and kicks the
Yeah,
bad
exactly.
guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Um,
drew this is I was heavily influenced by this kind of character in the 90s myself.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, go
Oh,
ahead.
she's not. Yeah, she's not like a bad character, but I did have to look her up and like spoilers. Unfortunately, we don't really get anything about her, like nothing. Like in the
Right.
DC
Okay, because
database,
I was gonna ask,
no.
is she Virgil's other
Oh,
friend, the
yeah,
one that he's not
No,
dating?
Frida? No, 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 no.
no.
It's not
Okay.
No,
Frida.
she's
They're just both
but she
redheads.
yeah, and it's also like
Well,
she
but
apparently
just
has
the
access
way
to
they both act makes
yeah.
it feel like
They could be, or she should
right.
could yeah. But and also like yeah, she has the look, and also like she apparently has enough money to have some gadgets, and also like has a sense of justice and all this other stuff. But she like never gets anything. Like it's never sort of explained who she's supposed to be or where she's from or anything. Like she's a fun little character, and I can see them doing more storylines with her. But I think we're kind of starting to get into the era of stuff that's not going to see a proper resolution by the end of the Milestone universe. I think.
Yeah. Also, writers are kind of moving around because at this point,
Yeah.
Ivan Velez had jumped on the book,
Right.
and I don't know how long he stayed after the controversial issue. So
Yeah. That's a good point. I don't know either.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, it's a this is sort of a one-off-ish. I mean, it's almost kind of a joke in the sense that it's like the whole buildup is like, oh, we've got guest starring the Shadow Cabinet or the Shadow. I keep saying Shadow Cabinet. Guest starring the Blood Syndicate. Oh no, they're both going to the same movie theater. There's going to be a big fight. All sorts of stuff's going to happen, and then literally nothing happens. Like that's sort of the joke of
Well, there
it.
was a big fight on screen that they all laughed
Yeah,
at.
well, yes, yeah. But yeah, like none
They
of the
they ate
actual
popcorn together.
yes. No, and
I
I
mean,
like
that's
that.
kind of cool.
Yeah, no, to be fair, I actually think it's really funny that like the whole conflict is there is no conflict. Like they just go to see the same movie and the movie kind of sucks and only Virgil likes it. Like I kind of think that's hilarious. But it
I
is
also
like,
like how over the top amped Virgil is about it.
oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
No, that's like I do love that Virgil has always been a complete nerd in a way that like
Yeah, I almost
yeah,
felt like it was supposed to be a Star Wars movie.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's because this is sort of
it's kind of
before
like
the
all the
really big.
movies. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's before kind of the big
yeah,
superhero boom movies because this is before
yeah.
even like Spawn or not Spawn, well Spawn, but are also like Blade. So it's still just like superheroes are sort of like it's still sort of the era of Batman-ish, but it's also yeah, it's also
Yep.
Star Wars and it's also like every nerd movie. It's your RoboCops or whatever. Because it's yeah, Fat Man #4 is coming out. Even after Fat Man
Yeah.
3 was apparently not that great. Well, and also somebody mentions that the reason nobody in Dakota is showing it is because there were a bunch of shootings at the screenings of Fat Man 3, which I think was an interesting sort of touch of unfortunate realism, but like I think it was good.
No,
But
there's a few. Yeah, well, real quick before you move on from that, like there's a few layers to the way in which it kind of like preceded a lot of real life stuff. Sadly,
Yeah.
in that case with the theaters, violence in theaters, but also the fact that it's kind of meta because if you think about it, like Fat Man, like to your point, the big comic movies at this point were like Batman Returns, and probably when this was
ooh,
released, maybe like Batman and Robin. Uh,
maybe even
you
I just
know,
remembered
and
Steel. Is this when Steel is
Steel,
coming
yeah,
out?
yeah, yeah,
No, I think Steel
yeah.
was
So
later in the 90s.
Okay, yeah, that's it.
okay, yeah, I think you're right. So, but my
97,
point is,
97 or 98.
Yeah, that sounds right.
yeah. So my
But
point
yeah,
is, those movies aren't particularly, hotbeds of diversity. But then,
yeah.
but
Hey,
as
hey,
Virgil's talking about,
Harvey Dent
I know you're gonna do.
was
I know.
Billy D. Williams.
Yeah.
You know what? I literally predicted you were going to say that. I know you're going to say that. And
Show them the envelope. You wrote the name.
okay,
No, I
all
mean you're
right.
right. They're not a hotbed of diversity. And
No,
yeah, Steel
So
they're
comes
really
yes,
out in a
not.
couple of years.
that is my
Blade is after
point.
a few.
Because you
Yeah.
know why? What did they do when Schumacher decided to revisit Harvey Dent?
Uh,
Billy D.
Uh,
Williams turned
uh,
into Tommy Lee
Tommy
Jones.
Lee
Tommy Lee
Jones.
Oh,
Jones.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
No, thank
Yeah,
you.
no, it is,
Uh,
and Virgil makes a point that it's not just, hey, this is a nerdy superhero movie. It's a black film with black actors
that's
and
my
like,
point. Yeah, that's where
yeah,
I was going with it.
yeah. Sorry, I
Although,
kind of stepped on
and
you.
and then it's no, it's all good. It's all good. But and then it's even more meta because while they do point out that it is there's black representation in the film,
Oh yeah,
they point out that they really mess up Asian representation in the
yeah.
film.
Because the one Asian guy
Uh,
is King Hong Kong or Kong
yeah,
Hong.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh God.
So
Yeah.
I
No,
don't know.
it's
That's just a Yeah, it's just I love the layers to that, you know. And not only did they kind of
Yeah,
predict certain things that were going to happen in Hollywood, but they also kind of touched on the fact that just even when Hollywood tries to quote unquote do diversity, you know,
They fail.
there's yeah, there's a lot of ways. Well, they can fit, you know. Sometimes
they
there
I
can.
can be
mean,
great
it's
successes,
almost
but
like Hollywood doesn't want to do diversity as much as they want to make a profit.
Yeah.
well, the reason I say do diversity in air quotes is because like the whole
Well,
idea
I
of
was just
like
I was
doing
trying to
diversity, yeah,
emphasize the air quotes for those
Yeah.
listening
yeah,
since we don't
yeah.
have viewers.
Yeah,
No,
listeners,
I
please
hear
note
you.
the air quotes are being done with the fingers. Yeah, no.
Yeah, the video version of 22 Panels is coming next month. Uh,
Ooh.
so yeah, not to
Possibly,
promise.
actually, it's
I'm
it's
joking.
something
I'm
that I'm.
oh shoot,
It
I'm not trying
is
to speak into
something that I'm
existence.
starting to look at.
Okay,
I
all right.
need to at least get audio up on YouTube. Too many people listen to their podcasts via YouTube. We need to be on
Mm-hmm.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Whether I will put up video is still in the air, but I need to get the audio up on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I just haven't
Okay,
had the time to
cool.
figure it out.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, like like you're saying, I mean, there's layers to this because it's not just, oh, this is a popular superhero movie. It's also, well, they're only showing it at one theater in Dakota, and it's the one on
Hmm.
Paris Island, which is like the really, really terrible part of Dakota. And like,
But is it?
well, I mean, yes, but I mean, you know what it is? It's like
Well, no,
it
I mean
is,
it's neglected in the way that so many of
yes,
our communities in real life are,
Yes.
yeah. Oh no, I mean that's the
and
thing
and
is like
and it's
Paris Island
actually
is the yeah,
woven. Yeah, it's woven into the fabric of the Blood Syndicate lore. Is that
Right.
like essentially
they're the
it's
protectors
yeah
of
like
Paris Island. Yeah,
yeah, and like everybody has turned their back on Paris Island. So
yeah.
it's like
Oh yeah,
even
no, no,
worse
no.
than just regular
It's
white flight.
Yeah,
it's neglected. I was just saying that it's not. I mean, particularly post Blood Syndicate, it seems that it's not like the hellhole that the people who don't live there want to make it out to be.
that's true. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
It's
But
but
then
it
like
in
is
turn,
Portland.
because
yeah.
Portland is
hmm,
not on fire. Neither is Chicago or Washington, D.C. I don't know how he gets
yeah.
away with saying that Washington, D.C. is on fire because he lives there and you think that, but whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know who
Um,
this he you are speaking of is, and I don't
Yeah, I
doubt
don't
him.
either.
I'm choosing to put my fingers in my ears. No, it is a thing where it's yeah, Paris Island is still like the bad part of Dakota. Again, you can't see the air quotes, but like it's meant
Right.
to be the worst part of Dakota, and like the Blood Syndicate is there, which is why then we suddenly get the Blood Syndicate and Wise Son, who's still kind of struggling with being the leader of the group, especially after Masquerade left a couple issues ago. And his kids showed up, and they're all like, "Oh man, let's go see a movie." And he's like, "Yeah, okay, fine." So the whole group, basically the whole crew goes out to see Fat Man, along with everybody else. And Dog, like, okay, I couldn't quite remember this. Like, there's a cat, or so
Yeah, I think that's
Kwai,
what's her name's cat. Yeah,
yeah,
Quiet's cat.
Kwai has a cat. That did she show? Did the cat show up before? I don't know what the anyway. I can't remember what.
Yeah,
I don't
I
think it's
think
particularly important,
yeah.
but
We
also
understand now that the cat's
yeah.
there.
Yeah. Well, and also like this again, this is why Milestone benefits from having this really tight continuity because yeah, we've been having this stuff with like Kwai and the Blood Syndicate and all of their storylines are continuing in this issue in a way that's like it's harder to do at a much bigger company. Like this level of oh yeah, everybody's just kind of hanging out in the bullpen, presumably able
Hmm.
to like kind of coordinate this stuff means that you have really good. I kind of forgot that this was a static issue for a while. I'm like, oh yeah, this is the latest Blood Syndicate. Oh wait, no, it's not.
Yeah,
Um,
no, they do a good job with that. And then it's cool because Ivan Velez is literally created it. So he's like
yeah,
immersed in the lore
yeah,
of Blood
it's
Syndicate.
all super intertwined. I did like that. Yeah. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, eventually they get to the theater. It turns out that Virgil bought like 6 tickets to start with, so they can get in. And like, there's a heavy police presence because, of course, there's the shootings. And then the Blood Syndicate just shows up, and of course, everyone just lets them walk in because it's the Blood Syndicate. Um, and then everyone else gives up their tickets because, like, hey, I'm not sitting next to the Blood Syndicate. And then, of course, we get some funny bits with like the Blood Syndicate coming in and Brickhouse like shattering a bunch of the seats when she tries to sit down, and Dog and Boogeyman are just like devouring their popcorn. Yeah, it's like the movie itself doesn't even really matter. It's just the fun fact that like they sit there, they watch it. Virgil's the only person who likes it. and then the Blood Syndicate leaves, and that's it. Like,
Well, it's like Police Academy 6 or
yeah,
Revenge of the Nerds 4.
God, you're right. It is like this is the depths of sequelitis of the '90s, where it's just like, yeah, they'll shit out 1,000 of these things. Um, yeah, no,
Citizens on
it's
Patrol, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Was that the one?
was there
That one
Nerds
was?
in Paradise? Was that 3 or yeah? I
Oh,
don't
I
even.
don't
I've
see.
never seen it.
I never got to even
I
before
don't
everybody
remember.
grew up and
I haven't actually seen all of these movies. I
right.
just know
Also,
they
even before we all
exist.
grew up and realized exactly how messed up Revenge of the Words Nerds was, I never really was a big Revenge of the Nerds person when I was a
I don't
kid.
think
I
I've
mean,
even
I guess
seen.
I was too young to see
Yeah,
it, but even when I was old enough to see it, I never was like, oh, I want to see that.
I
I
think
remember
I've
seeing
seen
part of
the
it.
first one.
I remember seeing like a commercial or something, and I'm like, Jesus, James Cromwell is in this as like the
Yeah.
main character's dad. It's like, good God, that poor man, get him out of there.
Uh,
And I got a lot of fondness for that guy after Babe. Anyway, but yeah, like I love that this issue is, your classic super, like they're commenting on superhero cliches and everything too. And the whole thing is
mhm.
ripe for a buildup of like, oh no, Static and the Blood Syndicate get in a fight or there's a problem or whatever. And then it's just like, no, they just sit and watch a movie and the movie kind of sucks and then it's over. Like I
Yeah,
love that it's just nothing. I mean, that's weird for a superhero book, but it's what I want out of a book like this, which is it isn't just the superhero fights. It's yeah, everyone has these relationships. Everyone has these really interesting stories going on. There's a bit where they're on the subway and like
Mm.
Ricky's thinking to himself about what happened with Holocaust. Like that's eating away at him in a way that's really I like that. I like that it's an ongoing thing with him and it's going to continue to be a thing with him. And yeah,
yeah.
it's a
For the record, Citizens on Patrol was Police Academy 4.
okay.
Academy 6 was City Under Siege. And Mission to Moscow was the seventh Police Academy movie,
I
but it
I
didn't get
appreciate
a 7.
I appreciate
Uh,
your thoroughness, but I genuinely didn't need
You're
that
done.
acid. I just it was a one-off joke, but yeah,
yeah.
yeah, okay.
Well, and it's also like
I
Assassin's
did
Creed
see
4 was
most of
Black
them.
Flag. Yeah. You
Yeah.
saw
I
okay, yeah, I never saw any of them.
oh really? You're fine. But it
Yeah.
was
Yeah, yeah, I don't think you've missed anything.
No,
yeah.
I don't feel like my life has been affected by not seeing the Police Academy. Who was it?
No.
Was it Steve Cooper? Whatever. Anyway,
I
Steve
mean, it is
Gutenberg,
Steve
you had
Gutenberg. I did
yeah.
like the guy that make the
Michael
sounds
Winslow.
effects. Yeah,
Michael
Michael
Winslow.
Winslow. Yeah,
Whoa,
but you
whoa.
can go,
You're
but
showing the cultural divide. Say that man's name. That's Michael Winslow. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah,
It's all good.
but you can see him in Spaceballs.
I was about to say. Now I'm
Okay.
thinking of like, oh, was that the dude in
Hmm.
Spaceballs who does the? Yeah. Okay.
Huh?
Hmm.
Hello. What?
True.
Yeah.
Oh,
What? Is my
oh,
sound
I
on?
Yes,
think
he's
I
the
think
dude in
Tad was.
Spaceballs.
Oh, I thought someone else.
Oh,
I thought someone had dropped out of
I
the
think
call.
we
Okay.
do have a
No,
delay.
we're still
Wait,
here.
wait. Do you hear me, Tad?
I do.
Yeah, I'm hearing it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Just make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
Eh,
um,
All right.
we're just doing
anyway,
comedy here on the
Yeah.
Milestone book.
yeah,
It's
we're
all
just
good.
improvising this whole thing.
Well, Ted,
But yeah,
you mentioned Ricky and or is it Rich? I always forget. But
I can't remember
I think
either.
they use both.
I,
But he well, obviously his character's been through a lot with this
yeah,
forced outing in a previous arc, and then but it's cool because it seems like the core crew they've all come to terms. You know what I mean? And made peace.
yeah,
Him and Virgil have an awkward conversation, but you know what I appreciate about it? It was both Virgil being like, "Look, I messed up. You're my friend, and and I love you." But he did it in the most awkward teen boy way possible. But Rich was also like, "Yeah, man, we're good." Like because it was realistic. It
yeah.
was in the sense that like it wasn't like they wrote Virgil apologizing in a way that was way too adult, like
Yeah.
with an adult's level of like introspection. It was like very much like what a 16-year-old boy would say when he was awkwardly trying to make peace
Oh yeah,
after
no.
having messed up like that.
Yeah, as always, like Virgil remains like one of the best protagonists in a Milestone, one of the best characters in a Milestone book. He's so God, I love him as a character. He's great. But yeah, I mean that's
Yeah,
that issue. That's issue 21. It's kind of its own little weird one-off. It's fun. I like it a lot. It's a little bit of fun wackiness that doesn't have a whole lot to do with anything else, but like it furthers other storylines. And I think it's hilarious that yeah, we just end with like, yeah, okay, that movie sucked, and then we just walk away and there's no fight. Like I think that's genuinely I think that's hilarious. But
yeah.
yeah, so then 22, 23, and 24 is its own little mini arc that it takes me a while to kind of get what it's doing, and I still don't totally get what it's doing because I can't remember. Um,
I can
there's
take a stab at what I think it's doing.
well, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I think they're introducing stakes in the sense that Virgil's dad is like seriously injured, and the family kind of surrounds around that, and then you get a little like no sooner do you get a little peek at his world at work, than before you see him basically trying to being a hero, without superpowers like Virgil, but being grievously injured in the process. They also this rest of this arc like really kind of like continues what you were talking about with Rich, and his concerns about
Yeah.
having killed Hot Streak in self-defense.
Well, and
Um,
also that gets a really realistic follow-up in that it then is about like the cops coming and trying to get his statements, but also the cops being like,
yeah,
"Look, you didn't see anything untoward, am I right?" And then
yeah,
it's very clearly
yeah,
like,
yeah,
"Shut
yeah,
up
yeah.
and don't say." Yeah, and I liked that that was like Rick gets off the hook, but also like, "Oh yeah, cops also so like cops are also horribly corrupt." Um,
Not only that, you're right, but not only that, the only thing I want to add to that is I don't think I don't know if Rick's gonna be like, oh, la di da, all's well that ends well. You know what I mean? Because he was
oh
really,
yeah.
I don't know, he was carrying the guilt, and I don't see just because the state is like,
Oh,
yeah, you're good, man, doesn't necessarily mean he's internally. So I think that's
oh
interesting.
no,
I'm sure they, yeah,
yeah, no, I think that what they're doing with Rick is really good. I like that he's not just the gay character having like issues at school. I like that there's also this
right.
level of guilt that he killed a guy, or did he kill Hot Streak or did he just shoot him? I forget.
I gotta go back. Yeah, I forget.
I feel like Hot
I
Streak
think
comes
he killed
back.
him though. Oh, well,
Okay,
he
I thought
probably
Hot
is
Streak
comic books.
is comic books, yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, I do like that a lot. I do like that that's the ongoing thread that we have for him, more than him being gay, which is also important. But like, I like that he's not just that's his only
Right.
issue, you know.
Well, it's not
Um,
one dimensional.
yeah, exactly. Like all the characters in Milestone, like they're never just the one thing. Um, but yeah, so we get that. We get Virgil's dad at work. I'm sorry, I'm stepping on you. You were gonna do the rest of the
No, no, it's
narrative.
all good. I
Yeah,
no,
I mean
I think I was just saying that we get the Chihuahua stuff, but I feel like that's kind of
yes.
secondary to the most important thing is that it's a vehicle to kind of have yes, this battle and silliness, but also to have big stuff happen with Virgil's dad, the family coming
Yeah.
together around him at the hospital, you know.
Yeah. And this, by the way, I forgot about this. This I was looking for that conversation you mentioned between Virgil and Rick, and it's in this issue. And yeah, it's so awkward, but also
Okay,
like they both mean well and they kind of get it. Like I love how realistic
yeah,
that is. But yeah, then we get like this
yeah,
zombie-ish outbreak thing with the Chihuahuas. Um, it took me a minute to get like the fact that we were seeing like the Chihuahua's perspective on these kids' terrible home life, which is
yeah. That
why
was interesting.
it was interesting. It was also a little bit like, why do we have? Are they trying to say like the kids don't understand what language they're speaking, or?
Yeah,
But no, it's
it did take me a minute too, but it was cool. It was
yeah.
fun.
But yeah, I mean, it's a neat little thing to show that like, yeah, this is a pet. He's trying to protect his owners. We don't really know why he's turning people into zombies, and do we even get an answer? I kind of don't.
Well,
Is it
let's
just
see.
like
As it goes on later, they
because it's
take over the police officers, right?
yeah,
And then
and like
I
they
don't know if
actually
they
like
like explain
transform.
it.
It's yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's whatever. Um, but yeah, so both Virgil's dad and what the woman who turns out to be Boogeyman's mom get trapped
Hmm.
in a room in the hospital, um, as the police officers who have been bitten by the dog belonging to these two kids in a terrible home situation are like being cared for by the officers. But in the process, Virgil's dad apparently has either a heart attack or something else. I think it's a heart attack. So he's in bad shape. So then we move on,
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
yeah, and nothing else. Like, there's no other superhero stuff until we hit 23, which is when, yeah, the police officers are trying to break in and kill them because they've got like weird zombie rabies. Um, we've got the kids and their chihuahua trying to kind of figure out what's going on. We've got Boogeyman's mom trying to escape. And yeah, everything's kind of going to shit. But eventually, they manage to cure the. It's I think they cure the dog. Either they cure the dog or kill the dog, and that essentially like reverses the rabies and everyone else because sure, comic books, whatever. But then we get to see
Hmm.
Virgil and friends playing D&D until he gets a call suddenly that like, oh yeah, his dad's in trouble, so he goes out and has to leave, and he feels really bad about abandoning his friends. And also at the same time, Boogeyman gets a call from his mom on his beeper. Oh my god, I forgot that he had a beeper. Um,
Hmm.
and I was trying to remember this too. Had we already had the issues about Boogeyman and his relationships with the rats? Because I remember that from when I was doing.
It's been woven throughout. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, because yeah, I was doing a re. I mean, I did my own reread of Milestone a while back, and I was trying to remember that because he had this. Yeah, there's like a big war between different rat like clans. I guess I don't. Anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Oh yeah, with
um,
the roaches and the rats.
yeah, that's right. The roach. Okay, so yeah, we did get that. I couldn't remember. But yeah, Boogeyman pops out, finds his mom, and then of course Static is also at the hospital, and his dad's recovering. Um, and oh, then the Chihuahuas come back, but it's like a giant monster Chihuahua. I forgot how this. Yeah, it doesn't. I don't know what the. And then it like teleports away. I have no idea what the.
I
That's
will
the.
say this. I will say this. I think this is why in my summation I was saying that I feel like the Chihuahua part was I don't even think Ivan Velez meant for the Chihuahuas to be significant. You know what I mean? I feel like they
Yeah.
were a vehicle
Oh
to
yeah.
the large. I feel like there was larger themes that he wanted to explore, and the Chihuahuas
Right.
just happened to be stand-in bad guys. So I don't think we
Yeah.
need to
Because
break down how they
yeah,
work.
exactly. Because like 24 is then this whole issue about like, oh yeah, the follow up on like, oh yeah, your dad had a heart attack and the family's dealing with it, and like it's
Yeah.
incredibly realistic and minutely observed. Like Virgil's calling his friends. Um, he's trying to sort of keep things normal at home, which is yeah, no, it's really realistically handled. I also do love the little one-off gag of like some random mugger tries to get him on the subway train and he just zaps him to the ceiling of the
Hmm.
train car, and then just like that's the punchline is that his sister doesn't even wake up.
Yeah.
um but like then he, in order to work off some frustration, goes out and ends up running into Dusk as she makes a attack on some drug or no gun runners, and the two of them start hanging out and have a your kind of classic superhero team up sexual tension bantering type thing, and they have a
Hmm.
kiss, and yeah, wow, oh boy, we got some spicy tension going on. We got a love triangle, baby. We got your classic comic book love triangle, your Spider-Man, Black Cat, Mary Jane style classics.
Oh
Well, I
yeah.
think that's the other reason that I wondered if it was his other school friend.
Yeah, that
No,
would
it's
make a
not.
lot of
You know,
sense.
one thing I appreciate to that point is even though canonically Frida and Virgil, at least in this version of Milestone, do end up together in the future, I don't think they ever end up together in like this old Milestone. It was just when
Yeah,
Dwayne McDuffie did Milestone Forever, I think in
was
like
it
2010.
was it
It
Rebirth
was
of the
like
Cool? Oh no, you're right. It was yeah, forever.
no,
Yeah,
no, no, no.
Right.
Rebirth of the Cool. I know what you're talking about. That was like the first arc that was
yes,
collected. No, but in like 2010, there was like two books, or I believe were called Milestone Forever, and they
yeah.
in that they're married and they have kids in the future. But back in the day, they resisted, at least as far as I've read, they resisted the temptation to like have Frida come in between Virgil and uh uh oh my God, Virgil and
I'm also blanking on her name.
his girlfriend.
And that, yeah, I also feel bad that I can't remember her name.
Yeah, but either way, like you know what I mean, like because it was like initially, Virgil was best friends with Frida, and they very much had it like this kind of unrequited thing. Was he ever going to be able to tell her? And then he was jealous of her and his friend, and then initially, and then he kind of got over it, and which is really if there's one thing men need to do is learn how to take an L. When a woman does not return your feelings. So I was
Hmm.
actually very healthy that they showed Virgil taking the L and being like, okay,
Yeah,
and they're still friends.
yeah.
So it's very healthy. You know what I mean? Like they were very able to have. It's not like they're friends, but Virgil's like waiting for his opportunity to be together with her. So yeah. So anyway, I say all that to say that they actually I give them a lot of credit for resisting the temptation of having trying to do a triangle with those three. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, no,
Right.
I get your point though, and it's Daisy, by the way. I was totally blank. I was like Daisy. Yeah,
Daisy. Yep.
yeah. Um, yeah. Anyway, so that's 24. I mean, 24 is notable for like the Chihuahua stuff just has wrapped up, and now it is suddenly, oh shit, my dad had a heart attack. How do we deal with this in the most realistic, like grounded way to do it? You know, like
Mhm.
I love that shift. Like it's a weird shift and it's kind of a hard shift, but like it's great.
Well,
I
and they definitely threaded it in the sense that they kept talking about how he had really been pushing himself so hard. And it's very interesting because I forget who Virgil's dad is speaking to, but he's speaking to somebody about um how wild it is out in Paris Island, and he mentions like,
yeah.
oh yeah, we used to live in Paris Island, but like he basically is like I had to bust my home to get us out.
Yeah.
And you see
Yeah, I
that it's not even a straight line, like, um, oh, you just got mobility and you can kind of move to any community you want. It's like, in order to do it, he's working himself into the ground as so many people do,
yeah. Yeah, because
because
he still works on Paris
earning a
Island. Yeah.
living wage is not something that America, affords to everybody.
Yeah. No,
What?
it's like that is the thing that I think Milestone does really well, and this is just maybe the most extreme example. I don't even mean extreme, but like the most it's where you have both the superhero stuff and the realistically observed, really, really well-founded examinations of like the system in
Yeah.
both forms. And like this is an example where the superhero stuff is sillier than usual with the zombie chihuahuas that teleport. Sure, but like it's still it's fun superhero stuff. You get to see Milestone and Boogeyman fight a giant chihuahua. Sure, yeah,
Hmm.
I'm here for it. But yeah, it's a weird little arc, but it's not a bad arc. And I always love again I mentioned that interconnectedness where you've got the Blood Syndicate stuff showing up in the same arc with all the static stuff. I love that. But then we get to the infamous, famous, great, excellent, interesting little issue 25, which is yeah, I don't know. I there's bits of this I'm more there's bits of this I find more effective than other bits. But also it's been a while since I've read a lot of static, so like I don't remember how much of this has been set up. Like for example, the stuff with Daisy's grandma. Like I don't remember how well that was established. Does anyone
It
else?
hadn't been like I don't think
Okay.
we had really gotten into her home life. I think it was kind of I think the way I read it was almost like in order to bring together the thread of like him supporting Daisy and their closeness. Like they were trying to give us more of a peek into her life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but they hadn't really established that before.
yeah, because what we get is it starts off. Virgil's had kind of a good date with Daisy. She pecks him on the cheek. It's very cute. There's snow on the ground, but then she comes inside and her grandma has quietly passed away while sitting in her favorite armchair, and it's sad. I think it's very well drawn, but it did also feel kind of out of left field that like had this been established that she had a sick grandma that she lived with her grandma? I couldn't remember. And like as good as I think the art is in this issue, I think this issue has some really nice art, frankly. But like I was just thinking like how much had we seen her before? I couldn't remember, but anyway. It was just
Yeah.
distracting me. Um but yeah, I think it's very well done. And then of course the fact that Virgil doesn't know what happened, so he's all like skipping around and singing it like a complete dork. He figures out he can make a electric bicycle that flies, which is dope and stupid and great. And then he hangs out with Dusk for a while. They go fight some systematics, and things go sideways. And the only thing that saves them from accidentally killing some bystanders is when Hardware shows up and says, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" And like, because that's another thing. Hardware is now at the point where he's working for Alva. So like, yeah,
Right.
sure, he's going to do that. Yeah, it's I don't know. There's even the little good joke of like Dusk stuck to the wall with static powers, and some dude inside opens window and he's like, "Hey, you doing okay?" It's just like, mind your business. Um, yeah, and then like it's this balance where it's static is, I mean, as with a lot of the best static stuff, it's reminding us that he's at this precarious teenage age. He's,
Hmm.
he's not quite ready for the responsibilities of manhood, but he's getting there. He's, being reminded that there are bigger things than himself out there. He's got power, but also responsibility. Boy's that a theme ever. But like, it's, I don't quite know where I'm going with this. Anyone else want to jump in?
He's also a
No, I mean, I
kid.
think,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, which is, yeah, yeah, I think that's just it. And I think it's,
I mean, that's uh, static consistently is like the best Spider-Man where he is actually the age that he's supposed to be.
yeah,
Where Spider-Man would always fall off track, and I haven't seen Static fall off track yet,
yeah.
is when they're like, oh, he's a superhero. He's got to act like a Captain America superhero. And it's like, yeah, no, he doesn't have that level of experience.
Yeah, he
He's
screws up all the
figuring this
time.
shit out. Yeah,
He screws up all the time, or at least he's just realistically dumb. Like
right.
I love when I love when he's an incredible dork like that. Like I've said it before, but really, him like doing his little dance when he's getting back after the date with Daisy. It's so sweet. I love that dude. Um, but yeah, like he and Daisy have well, I mean, then he hears about Daisy's grandma, so then there's this big heartfelt thing where she has to go move in with her mom, so she's got to move away from all the other gang and she's got to leave. And as they're talking about this, she whispers something to Static, and it's like, oh, she wants to give him something that's very important to them both, and he doesn't. And Virgil doesn't get it at first, and everyone has to be like, "You idiot! She wants to have sex with you." Um. And that's where we get what this issue is kind of really about, which is, yeah, it's about losing your virginity. It's about being a teenager, having sex for the first time, in a way. Like, that's really the thrust of this issue. And I like that it's not just them having sex. It's like, what does this mean for their relationship that is in the process of changing so much? Because, yeah, her grandma just died. She just had a massive traumatic event. His dad just had a heart attack. He's still recovering. Like, it's not just, oh boy, we're horny teenagers, we should talk about having sex. It's like we're in the
mhm.
middle of an important relationship where everything else is also changing around us. Are we prepared for how that changes our relationship? Are we prepared for how that changes everything else? And I mean, this. I honestly don't remember what happens after this, but like, this is showing a level of maturity in answering that question, in that it's about
Absolutely.
the question. Yeah, like yeah, I
Yeah.
forget
Well,
what happens next in Static. But I'm sorry, I'm stepping on people.
yeah. No, 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 no. Everything you're saying is on point. I think the only thing I was going to say is that it's thankfully also they don't show anything.
Oh
Despite the
God, yeah, no,
cover and everything,
yeah,
like they don't because there's just something about I think there's a very much a balance involved when, adults tell stories about these things.
oh God,
And
yeah,
and this is the balance. It's like deal with it realistically, deal with the questions that come around it. Thankfully, deal with like responsibility, honor, honesty, and all that,
yeah,
But then all you get at the end is a closed door and you understand,
yes,
like, you know
yeah.
what I mean? And that's all you need. So
It's
to me,
so
that's
good.
that's great storytelling. Yeah.
Yeah, because we get like the long sequences are like his conversation with his dad, which is great. I
Yeah.
love how realistic and thoughtful that is. And then there's this long build up to him like heading out to Daisy's, and then the door closes, and that's it. That's everything. We're not showing anything after that. Believe me. Like you don't have to imagine it. You just kind of know what's happened in a way that is.
Yeah.
I mean, I mentioned something. I said something where I compared it earlier to the abortion issue of Icon, and I mean that obviously in like the most positive way, because I think that was a really
Yeah.
incredibly well done issue. We all did. Like we all agree that that was like the best possible way to do that issue, I think. And
Yeah.
similarly, yeah. Similarly, I think this does a really, really good job of having the conversation on the page in a way that's neither, infantilizing nor uh, overly adult. I don't. Yeah, it balances things very, very well. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm pleasantly. I'm not even surprised that they did it well because they've done other things this well. But like, I'm so happy they did thread the needle so neatly on this issue.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's it's an odd way. I mean, it felt odd reading it, and it still feels a little bit odd to go from like 2 issues ago we had the zombie teleporting chihuahuas, and now we have the like, when are you ready to have sex issue. Like, it still feels a little bit uneven, but
You know what I have to say? I feel like I've talked about. Well, no, we've definitely talked about Ivan Velez and talking about Blood Syndicate,
Mhm.
but I had a chance to interview him like a couple years ago, and I will say like this is what he does. Like he really is good at taking using the comic book medium to really kind of like explore all these issues about being a young person, and
Mhm.
I don't know, I feel like he's the perfect writer to do this.
Yeah.
So it makes sense, like, because he had another. Did we talk about that? He had another series way back in the day called Tales of the Closet, and this is like way before our modern era, where there's now young people have a myriad of comics dealing with LGBTQIA issues, but like this was like in the early '90s, and it's kind of like a Love and Rockets type book in a high school. Um,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, the protagonists are all queer kids, of
I
different
forgot about that.
ethnicities, and yeah, it's just really well done. So my point is like, Ivan Velez is like really good at just yeah, just exploring like all different facets of life as a young person.
Yeah, that balance is really important. And also, I realized I had to go back and check. This isn't Ivan Velez, but even in like issue 5 is with the Commando X storyline. Like, that's another thing where it's, he is both a superhero and also out of his depth
Yeah,
by trying to stop like a race riot essentially. um and like, I really remember the opening of that issue because I think it's a really strong story. And it also, I like we were well, yeah, like we've been talking about, it's this balance of him being kind of a dumb teenager, but not dumb, but he's a teenager, and then also having this
yeah,
superhero responsibility. And like, I yeah, no, Static is like,
yeah. So I was gonna say, just to Tad's point, because Tad brought up like the idea of him being the best version of Spider-Man, and I love Spider-Man, so there's no insult to Spider-Man. But
yeah,
in the sense that like Peter Parker, it was almost like, especially back in the day, it was almost like there was times where they're like, oh yeah, he's a teenager, we should throw in some teenage stuff. You know what I mean? Like, because he would oftentimes, even though his age was like a teenager when it started, and for the early years, um I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They would have all this stuff at school with like Flash and the other kids, but he largely still felt like he was like a little man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and
yeah,
I just think Static, it's like they're consistent with the fact he's a kid,
yes,
even when he's in
yeah.
costume.
Yeah, that is a good way to put it. That like, I think Spider-Man. Well, I mean, Spider-Man is also, it's the '60s. It's sort of right when we're inventing what the
Right.
teenager is. Like,
Yeah,
they're still
exactly.
kind of
Yeah.
figuring it out. But yeah, like, Static benefits from those years of experience, those decades of experience in like, yeah, here's what teenagers really are like. Here's what it's like to be in a high school. Here's, beyond just jokes about like crappy cafeteria food, it's also, yeah, you're dealing with some of the most incredibly massively wild, adult responsibilities at the same time you're just trying to play Dungeons and Dragons with your friends. Like, yeah,
hmm
it's all, ugh, yeah,
Well,
no,
yeah,
that,
the fact he's a kid is just baked in. I mean, I just said that anyway, but it's like, yeah,
yeah,
it's interesting because and then even just like cultural specificity, like I love that most of the serious not all, but a lot of the serious conversations between Virgil and his friends happen either on the subway or playing Dungeons and Dragons, which
yeah,
is like that's such a young people thing, like a bunch of kids taking public transportation, you know what I mean, and just having
yeah,
these moments, or just yeah, playing D&D and D and just being total
yeah,
nerds. And yeah. So it's interesting. I just think it's very well done. Like his being a kid is very woven into the story.
Yeah, it's I mean, I was gonna say something about how like all the Milestone books do this well, and it's like, yeah, big shocker, all the Milestone books are good. That's why we've devoted an entire podcast to them. But it is like
Right.
it's I'm on doing this. This is like I think my third full reread of everything at this point, and I just every
Mhm.
time I kind of have to relearn. Yeah, there's parts that are cheesy that I kind of forget that I kind of remember. It's like, oh yeah, there's the I didn't specifically remember the giant chihuahuas, but like I was prepared for stuff like giant chihuahuas. But then it's also like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, there's also this incredible discussion of abortion or when do you have sex for the first time and how do you talk to your dad about that? Like, yeah, no, there's some
Hmm.
Yeah,
amazing stuff.
that was kind of that snuck up on me, and I appreciated it
And
because that's
especially it's
so. I mean, it's just not the conversation you expect to have, and you expect to have it in like a comic book even less.
And also, I think it's
Hmm.
important. It's also that his dad is recovering from a heart attack. You know, just
Right,
a page or two before, he's complaining about have to be served like unseasoned soup because he's recovering
right,
from a heart attack, and then he has to also give his son the talk about having sex. Like that's, and also I do love that like they make it clear that the dad's also like, oh God, man, I gotta give him the talk now. Like he's also kind of freaking out
right,
about it.
Yeah, yeah.
right.
Like I love every bit of that. Like I don't think Virgil's dad has gotten a lot to do until now, but he does get some really good moments in these issues. He's a realistically
Definitely.
like good man, you know? He's doing his
Yeah.
best to save everyone at the hospital, but then he's suffering for it. He's trying to make jokes about it, but he's, obviously having problems. Yeah, I really appreciate these issues like on so many levels. It's the Chihuahua. I know I'm fixated on the Chihuahua stuff, but really, like the Chihuahua stuff was just so weird and wacky. But like, it's you gotta have the giant zombie Chihuahuas every now and then. I was
Yeah.
actually talking with a friend of mine about horror movies and like how every horror movie these days, when they talk about like being elevated horror, which is like, oh yeah, the elevated horror. That's when the Dracula is that your mom died. And we were joking about that and the fact that like in Alien, yeah, Alien is a movie about capitalism and about how we're all fundamentally replaceable tools for the machine and they don't care if we live or die,
Hmm.
but also there's a monster alien that kills you. Like there is also like an actual literal monster that eats your face, like that bursts out of your chest. And in the same way, yeah, superhero books can be really good things about adolescence and about responsibility and understanding our place in the community and trying to build ourselves into a version of ourselves that we're proud of. And also there's occasionally zombie chihuahuas. Like you got to have the zombie chihuahuas every now.
Right.
They're not exactly
Yeah.
zombies either. They just like turn people into monsters. I don't know. Whatever they are. Yeah, I don't know if Ivan Velez, like you said, like I don't know if Ivan Velez knew what they were. No shade on him,
Right.
but really, they're just there. It's chihuahuas, yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know. The more we talk about these issues, the more I like them, and I kind of was not expecting to like them this much. I guess I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's interesting too, because I mean, I'm sure we've talked about this, but this is before, monthly books were really writing for the trade. So oftentimes there are like very solid arcs, but not like as a rule, And
Yeah,
so I think these three issues, there's an arc in there, but they're also not, which is why I think 25 was like placed on its own in here, you
yeah.
know.
They are an arc, but they're also just sort of like the Fat Man issue is just kind of continuing things. It's a one-off in terms of it being an issue where he goes to see a movie, but it's also, it's continuing Rick's story and it's continuing the story of the Flood Syndicate stuff too. Yeah, this is definitely like before writing for the trade was a thing. Because yeah, then we also have the
Yeah.
arcs like yeah, the Hot Streak arc for sure is like that's a solid arc about the Hot Streak coming back and everything with the what was it the Sons of the Sons not the Sons of Thor. What was the like racist group he was a part of?
Odin, I believe. I think it's
Sons of
Sons of
Odin.
Odin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, no, you're right. I kind of hadn't thought of it from that perspective of like the way the publishing industry had or the comics industry hadn't quite yet adapted to being collections. They didn't. they didn't
Yeah.
collect any of the Milestone stuff at the time, did they? I feel like they.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I think
Not
I'm sure
much.
if you go back to the early issues of this milestone series we do, there was a definitely I'm sure you heard me lamenting because I think you mentioned Rebirth of the Pool. For a while, there was only a few. There was like
Yeah.
it was hard to get your hands on them. They did like two trades of hardware,
Yeah.
and then you could get two trades of hardware, one trade of static. Oh no, there was the icon. There was an icon trade, at least one, but like that
Sure.
was
One.
it. And they weren't in production for. It wasn't like there was multiple printings. So
Oh
if
yeah.
you
No.
had them, you had
Right.
them. Like I think I got the hardware ones when they were still on the shelf, but then icon and static I had to chase down like later, just like through eBay or something. Um,
Sure.
Yeah.
so yeah, it was very hard. It was very hard to find Milestone 4. And then I think part of why you couldn't find them afterwards is because there was all the legal
I mean,
rights stuff that it was tied up
Yeah.
in.
I I have talked about um how I came to Milestone later. I didn't know of its existence at the beginning, but I guess I should really point out that the first time I heard of Milestone at all um was somebody talking about Icon
Hmm.
and going looking for it. And it was almost the stuff of
Mhm.
legend when I was looking for it,
Yeah.
finding it was, I
Oh,
was so happy when they announced the milestone initiative because I'm like, oh, does this mean we're actually going to be able to find this stuff that I've heard about but not like
Yeah. The
known
legendary.
about?
Yeah. No, it is
do
like it's one of those things where I'm so glad that at least somebody at DC had the sense to do all the reprints and everything because it is, yeah, imagine trying to collect all this stuff as
yeah.
issues. Like, oof.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything about DC that'll burn a
Yeah, no, I
professional bridge. What I will say that might burn a professional bridge is that DC is not heroes in this. They literally had to be
Oh,
Oh
dragged
no.
to
no, I'm not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh no, no, I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm saying that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I get it did take them an awfully long time to pull their thumbs out of their butts and do this. And especially because, like, Static was the one thing that survived because they had the show and they still didn't do collections of Static. Like, you figure they would have, even when it was like
It's
one of their few.
so look, it is fascinating because we all know that hardware grew out of
Yeah,
Dwayne McDuffie's actual smashing his head against the glass ceiling in the industry.
yeah,
And so much of what DC did, when you look at his story, is like have it play out, even post Static. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
Static the comic, I think Milestone was done in the books by the time the TV show came out. And it was a huge
Oh yeah,
like when you talk to kids of a certain age, and crazy enough, as huge of a Static fan as I was, I missed it because the show came out when I was in college. And
sure.
and kids, this is back in the days when you did not have streaming. So like if you didn't
Right.
Yeah,
see something when it was on TV, so my TV viewing in college was like pretty low, you know what I mean? Because I just
Hmm.
yeah,
um you would just catch stuff if you happened to be in your room when it was on. So like
yeah,
I don't think I realized till after I was done with college there was a show. But then you talk to like a lot of kids that are like maybe like 10 years younger than me or so, and they're all like, "Oh yeah, I grew up on Static." And kids of like all different ethnicities, not just like black kids, you
oh
know.
yeah.
Um so it was like that show was big. And yeah,
It
DC
was.
didn't really Warner Brothers didn't do anything with it,
Well, and
you know.
also, as I said that, I realized like it's because it really doesn't have a lot to do with the comics. Like it's as much as it has the same basic premise, and Rick is there, although they tweak his character a bit, and some of the other characters show up. It is very much separate from the comics, um, in a way that
It
yeah,
is, but it's
yeah,
cool that they do manage to weave in as much Dakota as they do. You
sure,
know,
that's
like
true, yeah,
there's a good amount. Yeah,
and they do bring in a lot of the other cast members that yeah. Um,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We are eventually going to have to watch some of the Static episodes because I'm
Oh,
just
most
curious,
definitely.
frankly. Yeah, I want to see him because I never actually saw him at all. Like it was never a. I was even more of a outside of all the various age ranges for it to actually watch it. So, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm looking to see because they had when freaking Zaslav came in and really started ruining HBO
Oh, but
HBO
he'll be
Max.
gone soon.
Oh, is he?
Sorry, it's
Oh,
just
it won't. Oh
the
yeah.
way
Oh,
you
that's
put
right.
that.
Because of the merger. Right.
God.
I mean,
Um.
who they
But
merge with is still in the air, but
oh my God. I'm sure. Well, you know what? No matter what, it'll be good for us as consumers. I can tell you that
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, it always
We'll
is.
uh,
We
yeah,
get to
yeah.
vote.
totally.
They're only
It'll be
doing it for
totally
us.
amazing for us as consumers.
We get to vote with our dollars, guys.
It'll be almost as good for us as
Yeah.
consumers as it will be for creators.
Oh yeah,
It'll
yeah,
be
yeah. Well,
it'll be
definitely.
amazing for creators.
Just like a
Man, you just
I don't even want to get into that.
you reminded me of one of the many pieces of news that really bummed me out this past week.
The
That's not even
Disney,
the worst. That's not even in the top five,
Oh
really. But
God, yeah. If
so I
you're listening
guess
to
it's
this in
the
the future,
lightest of
if you're
yeah.
listening to this
It's
in the
been a
future,
weird
folks,
week.
it's been a bad week.
it's been
There's been
bad.
some
Yeah.
real
Yeah,
bad
if you're
news in the
listening to this in
last.
the future, if you guys can
Ugh.
remember, if you guys can imagine the time when Netflix, Paramount, HBO, and Hulu and everything wasn't a big monstrosity Voltron monster, kaiju
Well,
monster.
and
That's what this is.
Disney
That's what this is.
deciding to pay to have their catalog used by AI.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Not to be
Okay.
paid, to pay.
Yep.
God.
Yep.
There's just a whole lot of bad stuff going out right now.
And
There's
those
not
aren't the
enough
worst
AI
pieces
slop.
of news
Okay.
this week.
Yeah.
Not
But
at
we won't
all.
get
But
into the worst pieces of news this
I
week.
don't even think it's the worst AI news of the week.
Oh
Because
God.
like you guys, what the hell is this new Google freaking AI that has fewer tells that it's AI? You know what I'm talking about? Like it's hyper realistic. Because before, like there was the obvious tells of something was
Yeah, the
AI
six
in many
fingers and
cases.
stuff.
Like the yeah, six fingers, it couldn't do the writing well, but like this thing largely can find a way around it. So you
Ugh.
have to, and then so it's just bad. It just spells a lot
Yeah.
of bad actors can do a lot of bad things. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the
Yeah, no.
escapism of Milestone Comics.
Hey, the comics, the one industry that hasn't been ruined by
Yeah,
capitalism.
nothing wrong. Nothing's going wrong with
Only
comics.
because there's no money to be had.
You know? Fair
Right,
point.
right, yeah.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Anyway, no,
It's truly an industry where you're in it for the love, for the most
yeah.
part. There's a few people that are in it for other reasons, but like,
There's some people in it for
You
spite, I
know,
think.
I mean, there's
yeah,
there's a
yeah,
shekel here and a penny there, and
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Anyway, do we have anything else left to say about these issues? I mean, they're good. They were all
No, I think we said it all.
I think I enjoyed this run quite a bit. I was not kind of I was kind of expecting it to just kind of spin its wheels, but then I got into it. I'm like, yeah, this rules. I am still
Yeah.
weirded out that they decided to stick the wait, where did they put the static issue in this book? It's yeah, they said it like after
yeah,
the
it's like
the
it's
Blood
like
Blood
Syndicate
Syndicate.
10
stuff.
issues later, and it's alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
God, I forgot
didn't.
And
about
I
that.
guess it's
Well, I
not
guess
really
it makes
part of
sense.
another arc.
Yeah,
So in
Yeah,
it
that
might have
sense,
been
it
kind
makes
of weird.
sense.
Yeah,
because
it
we're
might have been kind
about
of
to
weird to
get
jump off
into
of.
yeah, we're not about to get into Long Hot Summer, but we are going to start getting into like the Utopia Park stuff, which is a build up to essentially the end of the Milestone universe. Like we are in the latter half of its existence, I think, at this point, officially. Um, yeah, sorry to say, but like I think it's setting up some of that stuff in these next few issues of other series because like what we have next is yeah, like three issues of Shadow Cabinets and three no, four issues of Shadow Cabinet. No, I can't count. Three issues of Shadow Cabinet, four issues of Blood Syndicate. So I guess we'll split into two chunks probably. But yeah, I forgot about those. I gotta look up those Shadow Cabinet issues. I don't even remember what they are.
I'm looking
Um,
forward to reading more Shadow Cabinet. I took a peek ahead, and there's a big character return in Shadow and Blood Syndicate that I don't think I knew happened. 'Cause I think I wasn't
yes,
reading. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about.
I flipped forward a little bit because I was looking at some other stuff and I saw that on the cover and it's like, oh, I forgot that that happened too. Shoot. Okay. Well, yeah.
Hmm.
No, I do not remember what the upshot of that was, so I'm definitely curious. Um, God only knows how it all shakes out, but yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, I continue to enjoy the way in which all these people working together on these books means you have really tight continuity, a really real sense of shared universe, and God, I don't know, it just feels real. It feels realistically intertwined
Yeah.
in a fun way. You get to see Static occasionally mooning over Rocket, or you get to see, Hardware show up to save the day after Static and Ducks mess up. Like it's
Hmm.
intertwined that in a way that doesn't have the size of the Marvel universe, but at the same time, that means it can be really lean about how it makes its characters interact. So no, yeah, man, it's good. These comics are good. I don't know what to I don't know what to tell you if you've been listening all this time and you haven't gotten
Yeah.
that vibe yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Though I am looking at the cover they were afraid to print right
Yeah,
now.
that's the other part we should have
And do
mentioned.
we think it was the five condoms, or do we think it was the sex manual on the floor?
I forgot about the sex
Yeah, I
manual.
will say that. I
Yeah,
will say, all right, all right, all right. As much as there absolutely was racism involved. There absolutely was double standards involved. But
Oh, absolutely.
I will say when you look at this cover, the only thing I will concede. I think they should have printed this cover. I do think that this cover does not match the inside of the book. That being said,
yeah,
comics is rife with covers that don't match what happens on the inside of the book. But
yeah. He's
like
wearing the
this
Static
is what
outfit.
yeah, yeah, this is
I just
way more
realized that
salacious. This is so much more salacious than what happened. Like to the
it is
extent where this is actually like non-canonical. Because when you
it.
look at the tone of of the conversations he has,
Yeah,
the way he internalizes those conversations and everything, I just don't think that this is how the scene played out in in the room in the book. You know what I mean? Like, so
No.
I will
oh
give him
yeah,
that. But that being said, that wasn't DC's beef. DC wasn't like because if you and I think this is probably part of why you can't see the Milestone documentary on HBO Max anymore. But they really got into like the real conversation, and it was a larger power struggle. And
Yeah.
it's like it's almost like this cover was a convenient place to like plant your feet in the ground and like what I mean, and like really square up
Well,
with
I mean, it
Gwen
almost
Duffy
makes you wonder if on some level it was deliberately done slightly beyond
to
where
provoke.
it needed to be to provoke the final conflict.
Yeah.
mm.
Yeah, it's hard because it's definitely, as I'm looking at this cover, it's definitely a cover made to sell books and make people be like, "Oh, like what's up there?" That being said, it's a
Oh,
little weird because Daisy is like a child. They're both children.
it
It's
is
kind of
like
like,
All right.
and
it's a
I
little.
literally was just commenting on the fact that I love the inside the book. You don't see anything,
Yeah,
Right.
you
that's
know.
kind of the whole point. Is that like,
So,
yeah, they're teenagers. We're not going to show you any of this. And then this cover is like, oh, that's a little salacious for it being about two 15-year-olds. I'm not sure.
yeah.
I'm a little bit weirded out once I think about that. I don't. It's well
That being said,
drawn, but
like
like,
if you manage to get to see the documentary, you see where that's not what they were worried about. This is
yes,
DC, the home of fridging. Like you know what I mean? You know how much stuff
yeah,
Oh
they've
yeah, no,
done.
no, no. I am not disagreeing with you one bit. I am saying because I mean even because here's the other thing is kind of like what I said. I was surprised that Batman Damned #1 didn't get reprinted because the Bat Dong
That's
looked
so stupid.
deliberately shadowed to the point that it would be easy to make it go away.
Hmm.
Right? It looked like it would be easy to make an edit. This looks like a cover that was designed to be easily edited.
Maybe I don't think you're right. I don't think they planned it that way because they definitely this there was a long hard
No,
battle
I
before.
think it got edited way more than the easy edit that was left there. But how hard is it to cover up the sex manual? How hard is it to cut
Photoshop
down
out
on the
the
number of condoms?
yeah.
How hard is it to put some leg warmers on her so that it's not quite as salacious.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even within like the context of the book, you could like if they were just upset about the salaciousness, that there was a lot of room for discussion and compromise rather than just, oh, we're going to cover up everything but the kiss.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh. Well, regardless,
Whoa.
we got some good John Leone coming up for us, or at least he does
Yep.
the covers. I think I don't know about everything else, um, but yeah, I continue to enjoy the heck out of these books. I think Static does a really excellent job of balancing the wackiness and the serious and everything else. I'm looking forward to getting back to Blood Syndicate Blood Syndicate and Shadow Cabinet because I like both those books a lot. I mean, I like all the books, obviously, but yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. I am pumped to see what Milestone has for us next.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
What was the name of that Milestone documentary? I'm trying to
It
remember right now.
was it's not Milestone Forever. I don't know. it was hold on a second.
Was it Milestone
Uh,
Generations?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Television.
Yeah,
And of
losers.
course, no, it's not anywhere right now.
Yeah, of course not.
No, that come on. I'm so Warner
Well,
Brothers
no,
and
but
DC.
Static is still
Mm,
available for purchase via Amazon. So I was just looking to see if it had been shunted somewhere rather
yeah, but
than completely stripped down.
Static had been on HBO because
I
HBO
understand.
has all the DC stuff.
No. I understand that, but what I'm saying is Milestone Generations isn't even available to purchase somewhere else. It's
And what you don't
currently
understand is
not
that Plymouth
available.
Rock landed on us,
Well,
Taz.
that I do understand that.
Or does.
I was just
Uh,
crossing my fingers that it had been like shunted off somewhere so we could like plug it.
no, no, they're just being
Axed it.
racist.
Yep.
They just conveniently dropped it while we can. But don't worry. I think you can still see 90 Day Fiance on HBO Max. So they
I
they really thought
mean,
about the culturally relevant stuff. You know what I mean?
They
Like
stretched it out to
you
90
got to
days.
see
I thought it was.
people. Yeah, yeah. I don't know, do they?
I'm
Because
no, I'm
they had
kidding.
all the Discovery junk.
do they have Golden Bachelor or is that on some other channel? And where are
That's
the
probably
Vanderpump
Paramount.
Rules?
I don't
All
even. Why
I
right.
do I
mean,
even know this stuff? I don't.
I don't actually know this stuff, but I did see an ad for the Vanderpump Rules the other day that I was amazed when I found out it was the
I
Vanderpump Rules because
literally.
all
God.
I previously knew about the Vanderpump Rules was that it was reality TV, and what I saw before realizing that it was the Vanderpump Rules did not look like any version of reality I have ever seen.
Listeners,
Same.
in case you're wondering,
I've only heard that name and been like, wow, that's a dumb name. But I have no.
Right.
If you ask me at gunpoint to explain that show to you, I couldn't do it. Like we don't
I
do
listeners,
that.
couldn't either, but just based on the ad I saw made Real Housewives shows look realistic.
Yep.
in case you're wondering,
Yeah.
listeners, yes, it is very late, and yes, we are very tired.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. We should wrap. We should
We
wrap.
are not drinking though.
yeah, no, we're not, but like we're just all wasted.
We're stone cold
We're
Yeah.
sober.
No,
we're sober but
we're
exhausted.
wasted on life and exhaustion.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's yeah. We're all in the last week before winter break kicks in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in any case, I
Yeah.
think I need to go to bed and get some
For the
sleep.
brothers Anderson, no
That's a great
relation.
segue.
Yeah.
This has
Oh
been
wait,
the
what is the next?
Milestone Book Club.
The next two issues? Sorry, real quick is I believe Shadow Cabinet
Shadow Cabinet.
issues what 10 no 11 12 13 11 12
Yep.
13 Shadow Cabinet.
For those of you reading along at home,
Yes.
for the Milestone Book Club on 22 panels, this has been the brothers Anderson, no relation, and we will see you after the next page.